And we're live. I'm Anthony Dream Johnson, co-founder of the Redman Group, CEO, president of the Manosphere, commander-in-chief of 21 Convention, 22 Convention, and various other things like 21 Studios. Today's episode is episode 103 of the Redman Group, Masculinity After the Pandemic. Joining me today on the show, returning guest and panelist to the show, Texas Dom from top to bottom here on the panel. Texas Dom from TexasDom.com, Steve the Dean Williams from TheManMindset.com, and George Bruno, who you can find on YouTube at George Bruno. Big channel, about 140-something thousand subscribers now. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Pleasure.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, man.
So before we get into today's content and everything, our sponsor, of course, is, you're looking at it here, the 21 Convention. Tickets are on sale to the 21 Convention Patriarch Edition. We have bumped it to October 1st to 4th. You can see a little bit about that here. And of course, the 22 Convention going on at the same time, same weekend. I put out an official statement on it back in March. You can see that at themanosphere.org. There's like a blog at the top left. You can click on that. That describes the reason for moving the event for the first time ever, and the dates, different issues like that, and the 21 Summit that we are combining all three events in America into this October 1st to 4th in Orlando, Florida. That'll be the 21 Convention main event. Tickets are not on sale yet. The 21 Convention Second Patriarch Edition tickets are on sale, and the 22 Convention Make Women Great Again. Our other sponsor is the brand new 21 University. We've had the old one going for 5 years now, since February 2015 when it first launched, and then it went open in March 2015 right after that to the public. The new one is a brand new platform that is much more badass, and everyone's loving it. It's kicking ass, all kinds of new features and options, with smartphone apps on iPhone, the App Store on for Mac, or excuse me, iPhone, iOS, that's the way to say it, and Android Store. It's coming out in about 30 days. You can join now at 21university.com, and for you can get a free trial for 30 days, or you can rent speeches for only $1.99, or Redman Group episodes before they come out on YouTube. This one here was here early. There's another one publishing today as well from Poland that Steve was the host of, and George is on as well. So 21university.com, support the show, support the Redman Group, support 21 Studios, and get tickets to any of our events at the 21convention.org. Meet the speakers, change your life. Now, gentlemen, now that we got the sponsorships out of the way, what have you guys been up to other than quarantining, self-isolating, and trying not to get the coronatron?
Okay,
well, anyway, it's open. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I didn't know that there was an order.
No.
I've been doing the same thing I've been doing before the corona. So, I mean, the corona doesn't change what I do. So I just been doing I won't cuss, some effing man attitude videos, and not meditation, but meditation videos, guys, to give them more inspiration and drive forward, man.
Nice. Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's been similar for me. Not much in my personal life has changed. Like I work from home for 10 years now, so it's like, what else is new? It's a little bit more isolated. Like I can't go everywhere I want as usual, bars and wine downs and meet chicks and shit. But yeah, life's pretty similar. George, how about you? How's it going up there? You're in the Philadelphia area, right?
Yeah. Well, the salon I work at has closed for obvious reasons. And I just did a podcast literally 10 minutes ago with a woman who's a legend in the salon and the beauty industry in the mid-Atlantic states. And we were talking about rollouts of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, of how literally there has to be a literal complete disinfecting of our area in between haircuts and hair services. And
Wow.
Do we absorb that charge, or do we create a surcharge? And how much will that be? Because I have to wear gloves, a mask, a gown, a face mask, and disinfect everything. I can't use the same tool from client to client, like the same pair of scissors. Literally, I'm going to have multiple sets of everything, because disinfecting, you dip your tools into barbicide, they have to stay there for 10 minutes. So I can't see back-to-back clients. literally people, there's no waiting rooms anymore, no magazines in waiting rooms. The salon and barbershop industry has been absolutely 100% turned on its head.
Yeah.
And so we're all kind of reinventing ourselves. That's one job. My other job is working at the prison, which they started out taking our temperatures before we enter in the building. And then the coronavirus started spreading within all the buildings that I work in. So now nobody from the outside can go in. And it's been a real shit show on that prison campus. And then I'm noticing that with my YouTube and social media, the Gestapo is blocking a lot of videos and like when you look at comments on YouTube, there's comments, and then there's potential spam, and then potential bad stuff. And my viewers who even mention, any of those keywords that are real bad right now, they are being put into a section where I can't even click the check mark and their comments appear under my video. Because if they say any of the words, which I'm not going to say right now, they are not even visible on my YouTube channel. Yeah. And people have emailed me and say, "Why are you blocking my comments?" I said, I'm not doing a thing.
Yep.
So it's affected my world quite a bit.
Yeah, YouTube's been a shit show, man. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching it on both channels, 21 and Redman Group, and it's just fucking nuts, man. As well as other channels I follow, Tim Pool, Sticks and Hammer, Molly News, stuff like that. Yeah, a few of them have been able to grow, like Sticks and Hammer, but yeah, it sucks, man. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's both, I think, the platforms, and then like even the CEO of YouTube, she said they're banning people, maybe not banning the whole channel, but they're deleting content, deleting videos that dispute anything from the World Health Organization. Like, you take turmeric to feel better, whatever, right? Or take vitamin C. Oh, like, fuck you, like banned. Yeah, it's just nuts, man. Yeah, Tex, how about you? How's you and Steve are both in Texas.
Yeah, Texas is pretty good. I mean, we don't have. I think in my county we've got 178 cases or something. I'm not used to working from home all the time. I work from home, a couple of days a week here and there. But being here is fine. I'm blessed with to have built a really nice house. I got a lot of square feet, and a lot of acreage, move around, and all that. So it's not like I'm stuck in a 1,000 square foot apartment right now. That's a good thing. Yeah. My wife and I just get to spend more time together, which is always a good thing.
More vlogging.
Yeah, there you go. I feel for guys that are in bad relationships, though. They're stuck with somebody right now they probably don't want to be with, but that's only going to exacerbate the divorce industry, I guess. I think the other thing is I'm trying not to absorb too much information. I'm trying to cut back my media consumption, because I noticed that you can get bogged down for 2 hours plus just watching the press conferences every evening. And there really isn't anything earth-shattering coming out of that at this point. The first couple of weeks was kind of important, but now it's kind of like, and I'm finding myself more at peace than I was originally. I've been watching this thing since January, and trying to make sense of what was going on, and seeing what was happening over there. I never trusted the Chinese or anything like that. That's probably one of the dirty words. But at the same time, I started prepping, and I'm not a prepper. I'm not the guy that goes out and, buys 18 cases of toilet paper and that crap. But I made sure that we had stuff on hand so that when it did hit, I don't have to go to the grocery store, but maybe about once a month right now, and pick up a few perishables, and that's it. So we're in good shape. I mean, family's healthy.
Your home is susceptible to hurricanes. So right? Were you hurricane prep before this?
I'm inland about right now. Where I'm at now is I'm inland about 150 miles. So we get the tail end of hurricanes that come dripping through here.
Got it. Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm always hurricane prepped. Like a lot of Floridians don't do that, and I think it's fucking stupid. And then every year they bitch at you. There's like there's just newsletters or pamphlets they tell you to like hurricane prep. Nobody does it. And then everyone scrambles, even in Orlando, in the middle of Florida, like the safest spot in Florida. Everybody's fucking scrambling, freaking out. I'm always prepped. So when this hit, I mean, I bought some toilet paper and that was it. I mean, I ended up buying a little more food and stuff, but like I already had food for a month, water for a month, like all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but it was seeing everybody panic. That's died down a little bit now, obviously, with the exception of toilet paper. You still can't buy fucking toilet paper in Florida. But
well, I spent a lot of time trying to tell family what was coming, and they were just all looking at me like I was nuts. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
well, do you. But when you think about the toilet paper thing, I mean, the bottom line is that's a big shelf space item. You can only fit so many of them in a truck and so many of them on a shelf, right? They take up a huge amount of volume, and so that's why there's a shortage. I mean, you just can't ship it.
We got to go demolition man on that shit, man. Get some seashells going. Anybody might get that reference? I thought somebody might get it. Let's talk about life after the pandemic. Who knows there's all kinds of opinions on this stuff, right? Hoax, conspiracy, it's real. We're all going to die. It's the end of the world. The economy's going to crash. We're all fucking doomed. Most likely things are going to get back to normal at some point and in some ways. And that's going to vary by state, obviously, in America. Florida is like pushing hard with the governor. They're supposed to, the stay at home thing, or home is, or shelter in place or whatever the fuck it is, ends May 1st. So a couple days. And dude, honestly, in Orlando, like I said, I'm at home just working and stuff, and I am. You go out on the roads, you could still drive everywhere. No one's getting arrested. No one's getting in trouble. They threaten some of this stuff, not statewide, but in some counties and shit, and nobody does shit. I was in traffic the other day for like 20 minutes, like driving down the fucking road. It's in the middle of the day. I was going to the gym. I have like access to one of the few gyms left open in the state because I know the owner. But yeah, so let's talk about life after the pandemic and masculinity specifically. This has been a big upheaval. I think one of the best ways to put it is that I've seen is that this has been a very traumatic experience for everyone. Even if it turns out to be a complete fucking hoax or whatever the fuck, right? Let's say it was let's go extreme conspiracy on it. It's complete nonsense. This shit never even existed. In the meantime, it's been traumatic, even for the everyday person who's not normally in any way in tune with like world events and politics. Everyone's aware of this. Everyone's affected in some way. Everyone knows someone who's affected, whether it's economically or staying at home or, even on Instagram, chicks are freaking out, bored as shit, going squirrely, going nuts, right? So when we get back to normal, or as things get back to normal, how are things going to play out? And I think we should go through this kind of by like maybe politically, maybe economics, maybe like relationships, obviously. That could be an easy first one we go at. Like maybe we'll see divorces spike. Maybe we'll see a little baby boom, shit like that. So what do you guys think about being a man? Is masculinity going to be revalued or reevaluated as a value in culture after this? Is it going to be long-term? Is it going to be temporary?
Well, here's a thing I can tell you about Tex and white chocolate and myself. And maybe you, AJ, you came in. You came in maybe a little bit later, but we all were born before the internet. We lived before most of these people out here had websites and stuff like that. So, and I just speak for me, but I guess the guys can understand what I'm talking about. It to me, it's just a normal. Me being a man has nothing to do with what's happening on the outside world, because I didn't have the internet when I was young, and I didn't have to worry about trying to send a meme or a selfie, or I need to be around people, or my life. I'm a gamer. I'm a nerd, so I play video games. So I'm always in the house anyway. I don't drink, I don't smoke. Unless you force me to. I want to talk about that. A little dark moment when you call me. But what I'm saying is that for me, it's no different. The only difference is I got to wear a mask and gloves just to protect myself so I don't get my family sick. But as far as masculinity goes, I always say every day it rains on a lion, at least once or twice all day. I mean, for a week or so, he's still a lion. Just because he's wet and he's got rain on him or something bad happens, he's still going to be a lion at the end of the day. So I just want to say that for me, I'm just marching along. This is just a bump in the road. I don't feel that it's going to change me. It's going to change my family. It's going to change my life, because I'm before the internet, so I'm used to this. This is normal to me.
That is a good point that most millennials, even me, like I have memory before the internet was a thing, but not much. We got our first computer with internet access in 1998. So I was what, 9, 10 years old at that point. So I remember the world before the internet, but I mean, going to my grandma's house using a rotary phone, even at my own house, we had like a landline, which I haven't seen a landline in fucking long ass time. So yeah, my life, I mean, even at 31, I barely remember the world before the internet. And Zoomers have no idea. They've grown up with fucking, I remember the world pretty well before social media, for example. Like in high school, we had MySpace, barely. That was, and of course that's dead now. There was no Facebook, not till college. And these Zoomer kids, I mean, they're growing up with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, social media, endless amounts of fucking shit. It's hard for me to even, I mean, you guys must feel that with me, but for me, it's hard to even see them and understand their world from their perspective, because they've always had like these super extreme abundance of this high technology in these apps. I mean, they must be sending nudes and shit when they're fucking. I can guarantee you when they're fucking kids and shit to being idiots, man, teenagers and shit, which I think is illegal. It doesn't matter if they're your own. But yeah, I mean, growing up, that was impossible. Even in high school, there was no such thing. If you had internet on your phone in high school, you were like an absolutely spoiled rich kid. There was like 1 or 2 kids in my high school, 2000, that had internet on their phone. And it was a huge deal. Like having internet on your phone, it was like, holy fuck, what? Or that you even had a phone. Most people didn't, when I was in high school. But let's talk. Yeah, so anyone else want to hop in on that? Just kind of general, feeling for it?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to grow up with grandparents and great-grandparents. Great-grandparents that were born in the 1800s.
Damn.
Pretty interesting, right? And when they talked about tough times, it is what we are going through now is nothing like the tough times that they talked about. It's nothing. These people stood in line for 3 hours for a loaf of bread. Okay? We have access to whatever we want, even in the toughest of times. These are people who didn't have health insurance. These are people who trapped rabbits and squirrels, and it was in the stew pot that night, that kind of thing. So what's happening, I remember Clint Eastwood was talking about the pussification of America. And I think what's happening now is we're seeing every man's inner pussy come out greater than ever. And all the guys that have game and all this stuff have just proven to me, all my hunches, that they don't have what it takes. Mm-hmm. And being an alpha male has nothing to do with how you look, what kind of car you drive. You know what an alpha male now is? A guy who's got his mental game together. A guy who has sanity, clarity, and reason. Women, I mean, sure, do women love six-pack abs and, all that kind of stuff? Of course. But you know who's attractive to a woman right now? And this is for the single guys. Men who are stable and not being feminized and giving very feminine reactions to this crisis. Men who are stable, men who are the rock. What a great opportunity for a man to be a rock in his family, or a single man to be a rock and not react to every little stupid thing on social media. I've been telling people for a week now, be your own hero rather than put other people and other professions up on a pedestal. And I think what a great opportunity, what a great time to be a man. It is good to be a man.
Yeah, it makes me think of something, George, the way you were putting this, describing it. I've been thinking lately, past couple of days, if this whole coronavirus, maybe physically, but I'm thinking otherwise in this context, if it's going to be like a brush fire in terms, I mean, you could look at that from a business angle, these businesses that were not being managed well, from big to small, right? I think these big ones, for example, should not be, these airlines and shit got bailed out. I think it's bullshit. Who cares if American Airlines goes bankrupt? Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Bye. No one likes you anyway. But even small businesses, though, these businesses that were just not run right, over leveraged. Grant Cardone, I think, he's not a small business, but maybe there were some fundamentals behind what he was doing that were not very stable and super high risk. And as soon as now Black Swan event happens, all of a sudden shit hits the fan. And so the mask comes off, and what's behind that? A lot of debt, a lot of lower leverage stuff, this and that. But also, you're saying here with masculinity and with men, and there's probably an equivalent there for the females too, right? But it's like a brush fire, like a forest fire, and all this bullshit, all this LARPing of this wannabe alpha crap. It's all burning down because it's all bullshit, and it's built on the momentum of an overly safe society that has so much wealth and so much momentum post World War II and stuff in America and the West. We, like you're saying, we haven't been through serious hardship in a long time, since the Great Depression, probably, in America. And so I was wondering too, that people have talked about that, and I hope that's a longer term thing, but that people's attitudes towards money and saving and spending and things like that, what they value, will change. I'm a little bit pessimistic that the changes from that won't be permanent; they'll be temporary, because people are just kind of traumatized and freaked out. Unless shit gets worse, unless there's, like, for example, a break in supply for grocery stores, and all of a sudden for 2 weeks no one can get food, and people are scrambling and shit. Tex, you want to hop in?
Yeah, I was going to say, when we're talking the original question about masculinity and what's changing. I'm seeing this whole thing in two distinct groups. Every single subtopic that we're going to talk about, it seems like there's two groups. There were the guys that sort of had their shit together going into this thing and have maintained their frame. And there's guys that are now, the other group is, well, there's probably three groups, I guess. There's the group now that's sitting back saying, man, I wasn't ready for this, and I got caught with my pants down. This is not going to happen to me again. And then there's just the ones that are flipping out. But you got two distinct Americas right now. You got half of America still has their job, the other half is out and doesn't have any income coming in. And that skews the thinking quite a bit. And so I see this thing as an opportunity. I see it as a blip in the radar. I don't think things are going to go all the way back to the way that they were. We teased my dad just relentlessly about how frugal he was all those years. He's always, pinching a penny. And the joke was, copper wire was invented because my dad and his brother were fighting over a penny, that type of thing. And looking back at that, that's because he was born of the Depression era, and he went through that and had to wait and had rationed butter and eggs and things like that. So, I don't think we're going to go back to the way it was. I think people are going to be a little bit more in tune with their family and their friends and what's important to them and what's important to what you can touch around you right now, because that's all you have. And people that are flipping out, that have completely lost their social lives, it's an interesting thing to watch. And I think we come out of this better when this whole thing is said and done.
I think it's been a good gut check and a good reality check for a lot of people, but also with women in particular too, I think. I have Instagram, obviously, like everyone else, and on my personal account, and there's a business account, it's my personal account, all these women follow me, I follow them and whatnot, and just seeing them get, like, and on Tinder too, you can see how fucking bored they are. They talk about it. Bored. At least in America, anyways, is what you see. I don't think you would see this, for example, in Poland. But
what you're not seeing? What you're not seeing is 21 genders. What you're not seeing is everybody identifying this, that, and the other. You're not seeing, what do they say? There's no feminists in a lifeboat. You don't see anybody talking about strong, independent women right now. It's like everybody's kind of hunkered down.
Let's talk about that, because this brush fire seems to be burning, in particular, I think, that camp, not just the feminists, but the SJWs, the intersectional fucking whack jobs, all these crazy people with all these crazy ideas, 500 genders and this and that. 21, that was 2017, man. Like, get with the times. But that shit seems to be on total, break mode right now. Like, totally kicked to the curb. Yeah, like you said, there's no feminists in a lifeboat. I believe you, and that's what we're seeing. There's been a little bit, I think I've seen in the news, some feminists trying to push some feminist, bullshit. They're trying to just basically abuse the situation, take advantage of a crisis to sneak in feminist crap. I think it was in Australia, actually, is what it was. It was an economic recovery thing that was focused on women, and it was very specifically hostile to, like, single fathers. So it was like favoring single mothers and then disparaging against single fathers, or discriminating against them. It's fucked up. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's pretty minor though. Like, most of that, you're not seeing a lot of that, I think. And I guess we could talk about why, but yeah, in a lifeboat or an emergency situation, whatever the actual whatever the final reality of it is, everyone's freaked out. And all that, Janice Fiamengo, when I had her on this show, she talked about decadence, and Molyneux's talked about that concept too, decadence. That in the West we've had such a positive time. America hasn't been invaded in fuck knows how long, other than like Pearl Harbor, right in the 9/11. But we haven't had serious hardship in a long, long time. We have a lot of fucking wealth. It's insane how much we've had, and we continue to have even now. But let's talk about something here too. So, I'm trying to figure out where I want to take this. Let's talk about long term. Is feminism going to die? I mean, I think I want it to die. I want it to end. But is this going to be a nail in the coffin?
I don't think it's sustainable as an elective philosophy because it doesn't make sense. It's feminism pretty much is the destruction of a species.
Yeah.
You do need a man. You do need a man. You do. And you need a man badly if you want to procreate. You can't, I mean, sure, you can go buy semen, sperm at a sperm bank or something like that. But the reality is it's destruction of the species. That's what it is. A species can't sustain itself if one segment is completely disregarding the other.
Yeah.
Men and women are complementary, but not to a feminist.
Yeah, I've heard it said by a couple in the manosphere, a couple dudes, that feminism is a eugenics program. It's basically, it weeds out people who are, and in a sense, stupid enough to buy into it for a long period of time and ruin their lives. Women are good, women who follow this crap to the T are a good example of this. They end up single and lonely.
This stay home thing is kryptonite to feminism right now, because there's a lot of women that are forced to be at home. Let's say they had been, their moms, they got families, they've been shipping the kids out, they've been doing everything they got to do. But now they're all staying home together and they're starting to realize, hey, this is pretty cool, right? So maybe we see a little increase in stay-home moms. Maybe we see people saying, okay, look, we've got one good income coming in. Let's see if she can do something a little less full-time. And maybe we start to pull back a little bit, and the family becomes a little more important. I mean, you got, I'm walking my neighborhood every day, every evening, right? I got dads out now that are throwing baseballs with the kids and kicking soccer balls that I didn't see 3 months ago, right? I mean, it's like I'm seeing people outside talking to their neighbors. Yeah, they're 6 feet away, but they're all socializing a little more.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing some positive shit come out of this, and then hopefully feminism takes it down a notch or two, because now there's more important things to talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing in my own neighborhood, and I've gotten to know my neighbors a little bit better since it started. But same thing, you see kids playing outside, and then parents that you don't normally see, rarely, if at all. So they were seeing that. And yeah, I agree too that you're seeing, I mean, how many women just lost their jobs who are waitresses or bartenders and shit like that? They are now, if they were married or whatever, or in a relationship, now they're stay at home all of a sudden. Now all of a sudden they're cooking a lot more. Basically, they're Corona trying to put them back in the kitchen. I guess it took a virus to accomplish that. And I do think, though, that's where most women, I think, are going to be happiest, right? I've talked about that, as many other speakers have in the convention and stuff in the group. Yes, women are happiest, and it's.
I keep jumping in, man, but the whole work from home thing, right now, the office concept may be dying as well, having to go into the office every day. So if people are able to have more work-life balance and stay home more and hang out with their kids, and we're going to see homeschooling start to become a real thing, not just a handful of kooks. Now it's going to be like maybe a big chunk of society.
Well, not only homeschooling, I was thinking, y'all might laugh, the old heads here, the drive-in theater. That might come back. You can't be next to each other, but a lot of places are dying out now. That gyms, how are the gyms going to function with people and things like that? So
yeah, I gotta make a confession here. I've never been to or even seen a drive-in theater in my life. I think there's one. And I'm serious, man. I've never seen. I think there is one in my hometown somewhere, but I've never. My sister went to it once when we were in high school, I think, or she was in high school. I've never. I don't even know where the fuck it was at growing up. Like, no one went to it. No one
stuck your buddies in the trunk, and everybody gets in for free.
Yeah, this just when I grew up in the '90s, this just in the 2000s. This just didn't. There's got to be still some in Florida. Like, I hear there's one in Tampa still, but I don't know where the fuck they're at, man. Yeah,
we were so cheap. We were so cheap. My dad would pop up a whole ton of popcorn, this big Tupperware thing, right? We brought our popcorn with us. We didn't get to go to the concession stand at the drive-thru, right? We had our little things of Kool-Aid, right, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, my family was big on that growing up. It was hilariously good.
So let's talk about for a second here. Let's focus on an optimistic view, or I guess pessimistic or realistic view long term. So I think some of these changes. So my opinion, and let's talk about this. Some of the effects and changes we'll see from this situation are going to be long term. They're going to stick, and some I think are going to be short term. They're not going to stick. I think homeschooling, for example, is one that will stick. I think we're going to see an uptick in that because people are going to experience it. Their kids are going to be happier. They're going to be happier. Whatever the specific dynamics of it are. The ones that I'm more pessimistic about, although I go back and forth on it, are changes in female behavior. Women, toning down some of the hoeing, valuing staying at home more, being a stay-at-home mom, maybe thinking more seriously about motherhood at a young age, getting wifed up, being, entering into a marriage, rather than riding the cock carousel, which has become normal until you're 29, 30, trying to hop off of it. You get into a short-term marriage, divorce, rape the guy, whole shit show with the kids that we've, you guys know this better than anyone. So do you guys have any thoughts on what will stick long-term and what will stick to short-term and flip back to normal? Because I could tell you right now, for example, on we see the OnlyFans, some of the people in the chat here were talking about it. All these girls trying to make money, those lost their job, are hopping on OnlyFans, and they value themselves at $4.99 a month, to see them nude, $5 a month. And this is not even that surprising to me, right? A lot of these girls are sugar babies anyway and shit. So this is just one more. It's a work from home version of being a sugar baby. Things like that. So do you guys have any thoughts on kind of the specific things that will stick long term or that will fizzle out and just be a short term bounce?
Well, I real quick, I think and it's gonna sound crazy. I think what's good about this virus is that it shows everybody where they are on the totem pole as far as being a man. Number one, it shows you your truth finally, because now those that have thrived to be men are always going to thrive, because you think about what we're doing. Like you were saying, Anthony, when you were in high school, they had MySpace. So let's take those women from that point till now that used to go out, socialize, club, bars, and all that. They're going crazy out of their mind right now.
They're starving for attention. They're starving.
They're starving for attention. And the problem is, for a lot of guys out here, they don't know how to communicate or put flavor in their eyes with text messages, or flavor in their ear with doing this thing called getting on a telephone and talking. Those guys are going to suffer the most because they've been left behind the curve. It's like when I was young, when don't laugh, Anthony, they started coming out with computers and technology to do HTML stuff, and I was like, that's not going to last long, and I got left behind. You get left behind if you don't catch up with what's going on. And for the men on this panel, we're all going to be fine, because we can go through life and through problems and things like that. But for the regular guy that says, well, I'll just put it off until tomorrow, it's no big deal, I won't save no money, nothing's going to happen to me, and all this other stuff, they're getting the blunt of, oh my gosh, all these women are starving for a man. They're starving to just talk to a man. And it's like the women are fighting each other to get the attentions of men like y'all guys.
No, yeah, I've seen that on Tinder, man. I'm trying to get on Bumble too, but I think they finally figured out how to ban me. I pride myself on being able to evade all sorts of tech bans like that from websites. And I think Bumble finally got me. I don't know how they got me, but no matter what I do, I can't get back on Bumble. It's pissing me off. Because Bumble tends to have a little bit hotter girls on there. The platform is fucking super feminist, so that's gay. But that sucks. But Tinder I've been on, and I've been banging chicks off there. When I interviewed Cobra Tate, I had another single mom come over. First time I ever met her, and just walked in, serviced her, and she walked out. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot. Now, these girls aren't like super hot, but they're like 7s and shit. And it's a fucking, it's shooting fish in a barrel right now, or pulling apples out of a barrel or something. And yeah, it's been wild seeing that. It hasn't been like that on Tinder in a long time. It reminds me of Tinder back in like 2016, when it was still sort of fresh, sort of new. It was brand new for me then. I just got, my divorce and stuff. But it hasn't been this hot in a long time. And the likes and the engagement, girls hitting you up, it reminds me almost of what you would see normally pre-pandemic on Seeking Arrangement, the sugar baby sites. Girls are more aggressive, they're more assertive, they're going after you. The like rate's up, the engagement's up. Because, obviously they're not getting the attention they want, so they're channeling it elsewhere. But even then, but then if you know what you're doing, I find things are even easier now, because now I just ignore them. They'll hit me up, I'll send like a dot, I'll just send some bullshit, right? Like the one word answer. And then they fucking send you like 5 messages, they scramble, they're freaking out because you're like, I don't care. So let's talk about economics. I want to get into economic stuff and then the manosphere as being affected by the pandemic. So economically, the economy is obviously in a recession right now. That could get a lot worse. It could get better and bounce back sooner than later. 10 years from now, who knows what this kind of effects this will have. But in the meantime, it's been pretty rough on a lot of people. In Orlando, I think especially in any kind of tourism-based state or area, Orlando's like, one of the tourism capitals of the world. I don't know what the unemployment is in Orlando, but it's got to be huge right now. So much of this city was dependent on universities, hotels, service industry, bars, all shit like, theme parks, obviously. All these people are getting furloughed and laid off. I know hotel managers and service people in Orlando just from the convention, and dude, 90% of them are furloughed or laid off. It's all toast. So what do you guys think about that? How men can respond to that? How that's going to play out? Whatever kind of angle you want to look at it from, micro or macro, I suppose.
I look at it this way. I believe it was Galileo that said, prosperity reveals genius. Prosperity conceals genius and adversity reveals it. There's the kind of person that's just going to give up and say, we're doomed. It's a shit show. We're doomed. I hope the president can save us. I hope, that kind of thing. And then there's the person that says, okay, like Agnieszka sent me a picture of a guy cutting hair through like a takeout window. He had gloves on, and the client was sitting in a chair outside the barber shop, and the barber's hands were through the window, not coming in contact with the person. Or the nail, the pedicure, manicure people putting their hands through a nail slot, in a door, and the nail artist, doing the nails. So the adversity is bringing the genius out of a lot of people. I don't have it within me to wave the white flag of surrender. My mind is constantly thinking, what new industry is being created through quarantine and lockdown? How can I pivot with changes in my industry and one up it? In the hair industry, I will say that the leader in the hair industry is going to be the person who can prove that they are the cleanest and the most sanitized and the most disinfected. Come to the most sanitized salon in Montgomery County. That right. Whoever thought that would be a selling point, Yeah. Or in other industries, in the coaching industry, there are coaches and red pill guys who make a living out of busting people's balls. And those that don't bust balls, who show a little bit of compassion, there's a lot of suck it up, you fucking pussy types. Those guys are just going to fade away. The guys that are going to grow are going to say, I hear you, man. I know what you're going through. Let me help you get to the next level. And picking up chicks is not the be all end all in life.
Yeah.
And the feminine imperative means fucking nothing during quarantine. So
it's been put on hold.
Completely. So I really think that people who've had the broader picture all along, I think are going to do really well. I find myself constantly fantasizing how I can create revenue constantly. And I believe those who have the creative minds are going to get on that train.
Yeah, I know men that are taking advantage of the situation right now. They got laid off, furloughed, whatever you want to call it, and they've got some government money coming in. They got an extra $600 on their unemployment, and they're retooling their careers right now. They're either taking some courses or they are getting certifications to enhance their skills on their resume when they get back out, or they're completely changing line of work. Saying, you know what, I don't want to be in the line of work that a virus comes through, people flip out, and I'm out of work. I'm going to try to maybe go into air conditioning. I'm going to go into be an electrician or a plumber or something, and
skilled trades.
I'm going to work with my hands. And I mean, I know men that are making career changes right now, starting a garage, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm impressed. As far as the rest of us, I mean, I like what I do. I'm happy with what I do. I'm taking this time to be at home to clean up my database, like on my Salesforce.com and things like that. All these different opportunities that I've had that just jammed up the system because I haven't had time to sit down and work through it all. I'm preparing myself to, when this thing is over, that I'm just going to come blow the doors off this thing for the next 6 months as soon as we all get to start traveling again. And I'm going to prepare myself to get to that point, other than sitting here feeling sorry for myself or working at maybe 30% of output like some people I know.
Or Chicken Little and the sky's falling and shit like that.
Or watching Fox News all day long because, oh my God, what's or price of oil, or they're just flipping out about everything,
Maybe you guys have seen this too, but in my understanding of history, and it's not super knowledgeable on this, but I have read a little bit. I think there was a lot of great companies built during the Depression. I think Disney is one of the examples, and there's a few others at the time that we know today that are huge, that really got their, maybe not literal start during that time, but they survived. And surviving through that is a big part what led them to be the companies they are today. Love them or hate them, right? Walt Disney was a badass. Disney today is a fucking shit show, is my opinion. But regardless, it's a hugely valued company, one of the most valuable in the world, with a lot of influence and a lot of power and a lot of wealth. And I think, from a business perspective, that's one of the things I see. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 14 years now, and both for my own business, surviving through this and kicking ass and thriving, coming out of the gate, kicking ass. But looking around me too, and the small businesses and medium-sized businesses that will survive, I think they're going to thrive even stronger long-term, because the field there's been like a brush fire that's cut out a lot of it. And my own company too, like I just mentioned with 21 University, the brand new one, we've been, that's a 5-year-old, part of the business, 21 University, the video service. And that's now really getting ramped up. And, I've been thinking about, we've been looking at rebuilding it for about 1.5 years now, so a while. But I didn't pull the trigger on it because there's a couple options. And I knew that when I did it, I wanted to nail it. I didn't want to fucking have to do it over twice, repeat, back to back like that. And we're nailing it. People are loving the new one. And that's all. I mean, it's perfect timing, right? But it's also, the pandemic has given me the breathing room to finally, because I had to move the spring events, obviously, 22Con and Patriarch to October. So I have this window of time now where we're kicking ass on video editing. We're kicking ass on launching a new service, new apps coming out, new videos coming out. We're cranking out content on YouTube like you guys have seen every day of the week, 2 videos a day. And that's going to be going for a long time. We have such a backlog, like you mentioned, the database, tech, you do sales and stuff. It's different industry than me. But as an entrepreneur and a business owner, we have a huge backlog of content from 2016, 2017, 2018. And those are minor, but 2019 is huge. We had 3 events and 60 fucking speeches or something like that. It's crazy.
Hey man, my October 2018 just came out. I'm thrilled to death, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey,
I mean, for the virus, it'd still be in the vault somewhere,
Yeah, it might take a few more months. I get to, no matter what, I get to things. It might take me longer than usual or longer than you would expect, but I always get to it. Man of my word. But yeah, I really think that a lot of it, like looking around me, my own business, and then just the businesses I see online and just, around the world, at least around Florida, the ones that survive this are the ones who are going to thrive. And surviving, like Ivan says, Ivan Throne, that, I don't know the exact quote, but surviving is like the ultimate affirmation of your own life. Is the fight, like, George was talking about. I don't have the will to wave the white flag. Me neither. Fuck yeah. Because you have the will to survive. You have the will to kick ass. You have the will to be creative and do whatever it takes to adapt and survive.
There was a guy at a restaurant.
You know what I find interesting? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, there was a guy on TV the other night out of Tampa that manages the multi-chain restaurants. And he said, we just went out and bought 5 vehicles. He said, we would have never been doing our own delivery services had it not been for this. But, and the host was like, you just bought 5 cars. Yeah, I just bought 5 cars. I'm going to deliver my own stuff now. Right. So they're changing their mindsets. Go ahead, George. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. Thinking of Ivan Throne, it's a dark world. And we know Ivan. We've learned to love him. And that's the way he talks. It's a dark world out there. Okay. All of a sudden now he makes sense, doesn't he? When things were going great, Ivan might have seemed a little bit extreme. Right now, he's kind of like the voice of sanity at this point, isn't it? And I think he's the kind of guy that lives mentally prepped. He might not, I don't know if he's a physical prepper, but he's a mental prepper. Right now, guys like Ivan are making a heck of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I never discarded people and wrote them off as an alarmist or anything like that. Because some of the preppers that people were breaking their balls. All of a sudden now, prepper videos are some of the most watched videos. How to dig a well, water, air quality, how to make a mask. I mean, just like the real basic stuff. It's kind of interesting. And I'm finding that people who realize that the world can be a very dark place, because I have no use for the always happy person who puts their head in the sand. And people like Ivan, someone might have said at one point, "You're so negative, dude. Why are you so negative?" And he is a great example of just not really caring what people think, because he really is right about these things. And like right now, holy cow, his stuff is making sense. It's blowing my mind. And I'm thinking that the people who were what I would call alt thinkers are now coming to the forefront. 5 years ago, David Icke might have been considered a crazy conspiracy theorist. His conversation with Brian Rose on London Real has become one of the most watched videos in YouTube history. Why do you think that is? All of a sudden, the conspiracy theorist isn't so crazy anymore.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people like, I remember when Tex and Socrates in particular here in Orlando were talking to me about the virus before it happened. And one of our attendees too, that I know pretty well. And I was skeptical it was going to be as big of a deal as they said it was. But I was prepped anyway with hurricane stuff. So I wasn't freaking out. But yeah, it was amazing to see these guys be right. I mean, hit the nail on the head. Sock in particular had he was, coming over the house, we're hanging out and stuff, drinks, pipe smoking and stuff. And he gave me some masks and shit, because the masks was the one thing I couldn't get in time. I missed the window on that, but he gave me a few. Some hand sanitizer, I already had a bunch. So yeah, it was interesting to see these preppers be proven right. Finally, their day has come. But I think, we had Piero San Giorgio on the show from the Poland Convention on a few weeks ago. And I think he said, if I'm quoting him right, that, this is not even a really major shit at the fan scenario. It's a big deal, around the world and America, obviously. But it's not like a World War III. It's not economic collapse. Didn't just happen. Things are still moving along. People are still working, obviously working from home, whatnot. Things are opening back up in Florida soon. Other states, the southern states, Georgia's doing stuff now, right? Travel is restricted, but have millions of people died? No. Is the world ending? Apparently not. The internet's still working fine. The electricity's still working fine. Yeah. I'm still getting single moms showing up at my house, fucking riding my dick. I mean, it ain't, what is the end of the world watching Netflix and banging girls off Tinder? Like, Jesus Christ.
I think the main parallel that I'm going to draw to this, and I have so far, is this reminds me, for the guys, the three of us on this show that can remember this, when AIDS hit. Okay. There were a lot of guys that were spinning plates, self included, that all of a sudden when AIDS hit, and then it wasn't just homosexuals now, so all of a sudden heterosexuals were getting AIDS. Or I guess they were saying they were heterosexual, whatever. But at the end of the day, all of a sudden banging multiple chicks during the week didn't seem like the greatest idea anymore. Wait, that can kill me? So a lot of guys in the mid 80s started saying, okay, late 80s, I'm going to start settling down. I'm going to start having a family. I think that's what we're going to get out of this.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy did a great routine on that. If you remember his I forget, was it Eddie Murphy Raw, where he did a whole thing on sexually transmitted diseases and how these things have progressed. And I seem to remember him talking about we're gonna get a disease soon where you stick your dick in her and it explodes or something like that. And so that kind of humor, as dark as it is, I think it's creating a little bit of pause for everybody in every industry, every philosophy, every approach in life. My supermarket just became the Gestapo recently, and that was interesting. And I had a minimum wage person say to me, "Stop. You're going to wait till I tell you what register to go to." And they were like dead serious. And I was like, holy crap. And then someone told me, go easy on these people. And I had to really retract my attitude. Go easy on these people because they didn't sign up to do this. They're being told to do this, and just go easy on them. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I had to kind of dial it back a little bit, because
I've seen this too, George, and it's like trickle down tyranny. You have these governors thinking they're fucking they're little emperors. That goes down to the county mayors and the city mayors. In Florida, I've seen this. The governor here is great, I think, but Orlando's a fucking snowflake shithole, or it's become that. And the mayor of Osceola County, not where I live, Orange County, but Osceola, they did, for example, recently they put a face mask order on where you have to wear a face mask in public, and if you don't, you can do 60 days in jail. It's a misdemeanor, and you could pay $1,000 in fines or some shit. I haven't heard of him getting like that, but there's certain counties like that where these mayors are just out of control. And other places, like where your brother lives, George Tony, it's a lot more relaxed. Brevard County.
Yes.
But you're seeing people out there that, like you said, they didn't ask. No one asked for this, and you're seeing people there where you're starting to see the cracks forming. You're starting to see the stress coming out, and you start to see. And to me, I was talking to the guys in fraternity the other night. I'm like, you know what? Now's a really good time to practice being kind to people, because there's a lot of people that are losing their shit. And, you can be all badass and yell at people and just be a total dick and all that. But, maybe it's a little bit better to be a little kinder to folks and just try to understand and put yourself in their shoes. We're all prepared. We all kind of just saw it coming. We all have frame. They don't, right? So how are we going to help them get out of this when everything starts to get back to normal again? And I just think being a good human being is a great place to start.
Yeah.
Boy,
I'd agree.
You are so right, Tex. You are so right about that. I literally had to dial back my attitude, and I learned a lesson. And the person who taught me that was somebody who spent a lifetime career in retail supermarket stuff. And it made sense to me, and I ended up changing my attitude and having a little more respect for the stock boy in the supermarket, who is now told he has to be the person who is allowing people in and checking for masks and spraying down the shopping carts. He didn't sign up for that.
Yeah. Dude, in Florida, it's so much more relaxed,
this.
man. Like they have little shit markings. They have markings on the floor, like tape they use and shit. And they use like the aisles are supposed to go. You're supposed to walk one way and not the other, and it's stupid. But nobody fucking cares. Nobody. If some people are wearing masks, other people like me are wearing flip flops, just walking around. Now I'm careful with my hands. Anything I touch, I use hand sanitizer. But other than that, I don't fucking care. I think the chance of me dying from this thing or even being hospitalized are very, very low. Now, I don't want to get anyone else sick, obviously, and as far as I know, I'm not sick. But yeah, all these people freaking out, and it's one of the things too. Is this is tangent, but I think a lot of people that have used the masks and this and that, they don't understand how these things work. Like masks get dirty, and you can't just reuse them necessarily, especially without disinfecting them. So I think I see people wearing masks, and it's just sometimes I get the feeling like this person doesn't know why they need to wear a mask. They don't understand, what they're doing with it. They might even be making things worse. So yeah, just goofy shit like that. One thing I wanted to move on to now. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just want to interject this real quick, because I don't think it will come up as a topic. But for the guys that are out there who are the single dads, divorced dads, who still have to pay child support, you've been laid off, your mortgage or rent might be pushed back 2 or 3 months. credit card payments, car payments, but child support still has to be paid. They're not delaying that. And I just want to let the single dads out there that are paying child support, I am one of them. I am one of those guys that is paying child support. I'm getting all kinds of relief from all of my creditors, everyone that I owe money to on a regular, my bills, my normal bills. Child support has not sent me, domestic relations department where I live has not sent me anything that says, we understand you're going through something and we're going to be a little bit more relaxed. They are still demanding that child support happens. I get that. So for the guys that are still paying, don't think that this pandemic is going to let you off the hook. And I don't want to be a prick about it, but the judges don't friggin' care. If you don't pay child support, you are evil and you will get fined. You will go to jail. I don't want to be the guy that says, to not pay it. If you can, if it's within your ability, keep doing it, because if you stand before your magistrate and have to make an excuse, pandemic is not going to cut it. He's not going to cut it. They expect you to sacrifice before your kids do. They don't care. They don't care.
Well,
and that's
clear,
something
let's
I've
be clear
never
too,
heard
though.
anyone talk about yet. Nobody has even mentioned this at all anywhere.
No, I support. I agree with you 100%. Let's just be clear though that a lot of child support doesn't even go to children. It goes to the woman, the ex-wife, the baby mama, and who the fuck knows?
Manicures and pedicures.
Yeah, manicures, pedicures. Handbags. Fuck knows. Spending money on chads, happy hours, sangrias. All kinds of stupid bullshit. Sunday fun day.
$13 martinis. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's it's not. They say it's for the kids and the best interest of the kids, but that's bullshit. I think child support is evil. It needs to be abolished. 100% is my opinion. As far as government mandated child support, it's just horrible. It subsidizes a big problem. It subsidizes and enables and fosters more divorce, more breaking up of families, and it's unaccountable anyway. These women aren't required to show receipts for what they spend money on, which in my opinion is that would be rationality for that arrangement 101. If you're going to be getting $800 a month or something from your ex-husband, you need to show receipts for $800 of how that money was spent for children. Yeah, there needs to be reform.
I think the Medicaid systems in many states, they used to send checks, and then they started sending, what do they call them, like EBT cards, and you could not use the EBT cards, I know in Pennsylvania, for lottery tickets, alcohol, that kind of stuff. So they were kind of, for the people that were getting cash assistance, otherwise known as welfare, they did restrict, and they did kind of, I think they're doing the best they can to encouraging people to spend that money on food and the things that are necessities. If that was brought over to the child support world, we'd see a heck of a lot less manicures and pedicures.
Yep. It needs to happen. I don't know how to make it happen, and I'm sure other people thought of this too in the manosphere, the men's rights guide especially, but that needs to happen. Yeah, women will have it. The minute you bring that up in any serious context, some are going to flip their shit. It's all, solipsism. It's all fucking her own ego and everything. The manicures and pedicures. That is that is taking care of her kids. She got to take care of herself. Her fucking whatever the fuck, right? Idiotic shit. I did want to get to some. There actually had some questions in the chat. I wanted to get to a few of them. I do have some more topics I want to get into, though. Some tangents. Where is it here? So a pretty simple question. Some people have suggested, and I think this could be true, but as lockdowns wind down and things like that, and bars open back up, there's going to be like a surge to basically go to your local bar, get shit-faced, and hook up. I think this is possible with the exception of government-mandated things that bars follow, reduced occupancy, shit like that. But I'm sure there's a lot of pent-up. If people aren't just stressed out, they're also kind of pent up and they're cooped up at home. A lot of them, right? The ones that aren't working at the grocery store or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think about just hookup culture? I mean, obviously, there's going to be some, I think, winding down of it. as women lose their jobs and now they've experienced being a stay-at-home mom maybe or something like that. But also these young 20-something girls are hopping on OnlyFans and they're missing the attention they used to get. And, you know, I'm thinking there's going to be like a rubber band effect, like a snap. And they're going to go out and they're just going to get fucked. Like, well, I don't know how to say it, savagely.
I think they're going to fuck, again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're going to fuck the men. But I think I don't know if I cut. What they're going to do, I think, when they get out there, is that they're going to be more aggressive to the weak. You know, it's like nature. See, the thing about nature right now is that, you know, the 4 men on this panel, we're rolling off of nature. But what the most people out there are living off of is this false, fake reality of being the victim and everything. And these women are their fangs and their claws are gonna get out. And when I say hunt these guys, it's not for sex. It's for what can you do for me? I haven't made my webcam. My webcam needs to be paid. My nail, I need to go to George to get my hair done. I need to get more clothes. I need to get my lifestyle back. My phone is dying out on me. So now I need to get out there and find the male or the grass-eating lion that's going to be willing to pay or get me back on my high horse like I was. So it's going to come in two different waves. For one wave, for the guys that know what they're doing, they're going to get all the sex because in nature, women want the top dog anyway. But for the regular guy that doesn't know what he's doing, he's going to become the hunted. Because like I say, and it goes back to like what George's talking about, women are going crazy about the beauty salon. They you know, and I'm sure George will tell you, it costs a lot of money to get your hair fixed, manicure, pedicure, you know, the new high heels, the Louis Vuitton purses, and all this other stuff. So they're like, I need to get back to my lifestyle. So when I get out there, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be willing to pay my lifestyle. So I think it's going to go in two different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I have an opinion on that. I think for me, my sex drive is not, it's not a priority like it was when I was younger. I don't have any less of a sex drive than I had when I was 25 or 30 years old. But I will tell you this, I've learned to prioritize, and I have come right out. And this is all, I think all boyfriends and girlfriends who can't see each other or people in long distance relationships, you just need to have the talk, have the Skype talk with your partner and say, are you able to do this? Now that we can't see each other, or we don't know when we're going to see each other, are you able to do this? Yes or no? And I think it opens up a great opportunity to talk about the relationship and loyalty, because we now have the possibility of some of the biggest lies to be told. Oh, you're my only guy. You're the only one for me. I would never do that. That being one of the biggest lies. Or something like, yes, I'm willing to wait for you. I'm willing to wait till this passes. And I think all couples that are in those kind of relationships really need to have that conversation. I think it's important. Trust is either going to be busted or trust is going to be completely made during this period of time. So I think the pandemic is showing how loyal and how far down people's roots go in that relationship.
It's like boiling. It's like boiling the relationships like water, or polarizing it.
Yep. Can you trust the woman that you can't see on a daily basis or a weekly basis? Can you trust her? Or for the women that are watching, can you trust the man that you only see on the weekends? You know, I mean, the door swings in both directions. So I think what's happening is it's purifying a lot of relationships. I feel fortunate at my age.
I like that. Purifying. Yeah.
Yeah. In a few months, I'm going to be 60. And I feel very fortunate that I've learned to kind of prioritize what's important for me. And I don't have to go out and get laid. That gorilla is in the back seat now. It's no longer in the driver's seat in my life. And I think a lot of the older guys might be able to relate to that. But I think, you know, there's never a downside to saying to her, can you do this? Are you able to do this thing? Because the last thing you want to do is, after the pandemic goes, and a year or two down the road, she confesses to you that there were 3 men, you know, during the pandemic.
I mean, 3 is the confession, 6 was the
At the same time.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Dude, I had a girl recently, you know, fucked her in the first night, like always. And at some point later in the evening, right, she, for whatever fucking reason, she tries to tell me she's only been with 3 guys. And I'm like, I don't say anything. I just kind of like physically, I don't say anything. But the first thought that comes to my head, I was like, I wonder if she's had 3 abortions. Because I'm like, this girl's super hot. So I'm like, there's no fucking chance on this earth she's been with 3 guys. I wouldn't even believe 9. Not even for a second, even tripling the number. So I'm like, I was like, wonder if she had 3. Like, where did the number come from? I was like, maybe she had 3 abortions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious thinking that, or sarcastic with it, but you know, just hearing that kind of shit is nuts. The fucking delusional bullshit.
Also in divorce court, they'll ask a woman, they won't say, how many children do you have? They will say, how many pregnancies have you had? A woman might have 3 children, but may have had 7 pregnancies.
Whoa. We got super chat here. Thank you very much. Super nifty Susie 1, $5. I'm a 29-year-old in shape woman. Have I hit the wall? I have limited dating experience. I'm also considering breast implants to enhance my SMV. Wow, this is the exact kind of girl I target on Tinder and Bumble. Well, usually like early 30s, because by that point they have the breast implants, because they all do this. I'm not making fun of you, by the way, super chatter. I appreciate it, but I love chicks with fake tits, and they're all like early 30s when they're still fresh usually. So, or they had like another round of it if they had kids earlier in their 20s. I've seen that too. Anyone want to take this? I could tap into it, but
yeah, I will.
Go ahead.
I think the wall, there's 2 types of wall. There's the mental wall. There's people, and we know people that are much older or younger mentally. Okay. And then there's people who have had a, you know, what do they call it? Like a rough paper route, you know, that kind of wall. And I will say, I know women my age that are beautiful, and I love trolling the, you know, the hardcore red pill guys. I'll just tweet something like, a woman doesn't hit her peak till she's 65, because I know that'll dominate all of their YouTube shows for the next week or 2. But I know women, back when I was doing dating sites, I'd see women my age who look horrible. And I've seen women my age who look wonderful. And I always said that how you look now really is the result of what you've done for the past decade. Mm-hmm. So I think if a woman takes care, quote unquote, takes care of herself, there is such a thing as aging gracefully. And I don't want to be one of those guys that jumps in and says, men age like wine and women age like milk. It's like, I don't feel the need to put other people down to elevate myself. I know plenty of women 60 years old that are freaking gorgeous, beautiful. And I have zero issues with that. I have zero issues with that.
To tag on to what you're saying a little bit, George, let's get Tex in too. I think the reason that that's said in the manosphere, I think there's some truth to it, that men age like wine, women age like milk. But I think it's a generality, and dude, in real life, it doesn't always work like that. There are some women who actually get hotter as they age to some extent. Maybe at 21, they're kind of an ugly duckling. They're still fat. They have acne still, or in all seriousness, they'll be much hotter at 29 than they are at 21. I think, and then men, of course, can age like shit too. Sometimes they age really well. George, you and your brother are a great example of that. Your brother's 57, I think. You're 59. You're both kicking ass, and I know for a fact you both slay the poon whenever you want. And part of the reason for that is because you don't care, because you put the gorilla in the back seat. Slay the poon. Some of the most underrated dating coaches in the manosphere are George Bruno and Tony Bruno. With that said, though, you know, some men do age like shit. You guys don't. Tex has aged well. He put himself together, several years ago, lost a lot of weight. You and your brother, good example of that. You guys, you keeping it together as you age. I'm in better shape now at 31 than I was at 21. But so I think with women though, it's like the potential for the best physical beauty and health of your life and fertility is like 22 years old. But some women don't have that. They're overweight and fucked up, pre-diabetic, and who knows what. But then they put it together. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with fertility. That's kind of where I was going to go with this thing. I mean, if that's the wall that I'd be worried about if I was a woman that was 29. I mean, at what point am I not going to have kids anymore? At what point is it not smart to have kids anymore? That type of thing. I mean, as far as beauty, there's always going to be some guy somewhere, that part goes. The jokes about the wall are the jokes. I think that you can either see beyond that or not. I think taking care of themselves is a big deal, a really big deal. A woman that, takes care of her face and that kind of thing. Puts moisturizer on every night when she's 22 and 24 and 28, because she knows when she's 60, it's going to pay off, right? Or she has this thing. Yeah. I think the wall takes no prisoners, right? As far as age goes and beauty goes. I mean, you get lines and you get wrinkles and you get all these things. It's just the way. It's just life experiences. I'd be more concerned about deciding if you want to have kids or not. That would be where I would focus my efforts at this point.
Yep.
Well, one thing I would tell that lady is that go ahead and get your fake boobs and the fake makeup and all that fake goop that you want to slap on your face and your body. At the end of the day, a real man will see you for what you are. And if you cannot suck and fuck his mind, then you're just going to get thrown over the barrel after he gets done with you time. So I don't want to be the mean guy here, but I want to be these guys are honest too. So I want to be in the honest circle too. So you can get all the fake boobs you want, and you can do all the things you want to do. But if you cannot suck and fuck his mind, then you just gonna be just another notch on this belt.
But I like fake boobs, man. I'm all about it. So bolt-ons, good, well done bolt-ons. There's nothing like them, man. Just bring it on.
Yeah, when you're done, give me a call. Like we'll talk. To get two of my own. I don't. Who knows what she looks like, whatever. But just to reiterate some of my own thoughts on this question. The wall is real. The generality I think is true that women do age like milk and men age like wine. But the opposite. It doesn't always work like that. Plenty of men age like shit. Plenty of women age well. I like what George is saying a lot. He takes a lot of heat for it in the manosphere, but some women do age beautifully. Dude, they look great and beautiful well into the 40s and 50s and beyond. I think that's why, for example, it's a very traditional thing. I think it's real is when you're young and let's say you want to wipe some chick up, right? You put a baby in her, look at the mom. If the mom is 49 years old, that's pretty much how you can expect her to look, the chick at 22 to look at 49. If the mom's a fucking wreck, so the chick. Most likely, right? Not 100% of the time. It's 80, 90% chance it's exactly how she's going to look, more or less, right? Give or take a few changes.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. 29 is not the end of the world. I mean, your peak potential is at 22, but in reality, and what you're doing too, by the way, is super common. I've seen, this is why I sometimes I'll put, sometimes a few weeks at a time, I'll change my age range to go for chicks like 27 to 33, because I think the probability for fake tits and stuff is a lot higher, which for me, if I'm just sport fucking, is a lot of fun. So it's like a way to narrow in on that. And then these girls think they're clever and they're going to rope me into a relationship, and then they don't, obviously. So it is what it is. One thing over this chick, don't be a bullshitter. Like, it's one thing to have fake tits. That's the one thing in the world should be fake is tits, but everything else should be real. And if you're going to, manipulate some dude and, you're going to change woman and start reading the Bible and shit, just because you're slamming into the wall. I've seen girls with F-cup tits on Instagram in Orlando, and they go, their Instagram is amazing to see the progression. It's like they get fake tits, and then there's food, and then boob pictures, ass pictures, more food, boyfriend, food, tits, ass, boyfriend, breakup, Bible, food. I mean, it's to actually see the timeline of this shit is amazing. And it's like you have like G-cup tits and you're posting pictures of the Bible. Literally, it's great, like a picture, and then they're like quoting it and shit. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, don't be a bullshitter. It's great to have fake tits, but not a fake personality and fake manipulations and all this shit. It'll not just scare, it'll chase real men away that you might have a chance for, because you're still in your 20s. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, Anthony, real quick, I want to say the good thing is, and a lot of women don't understand this, is that when a man really finds a great woman who honors his name and things, it doesn't matter how old you are, because a man's going to see you. A woman could be 50 years old, and that man is going to see her like the first day he met her. So you don't, for that lady out there, go ahead and get your fake boobs and stuff. But what I'm saying is learn how to cook, clean, suck dick, and shut the fuck up, and you'll be better off at the end of the day.
Let's go on to the next super chat here. Appreciate it. Eternal Guard of Christ. £5 looks like. What's your view that in the next decade or three that men should remove the 19th Amendment and wipe its carnage historical legacy once and for all? The 19th Amendment
ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, just to clarify, the 19th Amendment's women getting the right to vote in America. Go ahead, George.
That's never going to happen. I'll never forget one of the live Red Man groups. I forget which conference it was, and it came to the point where they asked Drew Bay, whoever the moderator, what do you think? He said, eliminate women's right to vote. And then there was this hush, not only amongst the speakers, but even in the audience. Yeah. And I forget who was moderating at that point. Boy, did they have to do some quick talking to kind of generate discussion again. But Drew Bay is mentally ill if he thinks that's going to happen.
I remember this. This is 2018.
I will never forget him saying he has shit talked me, and he took sides with the idiots. Okay, yeah. Which I'm just going to call him out for his asinine attitude.
Yeah.
And the punk ass that he is.
Yep.
For saying that publicly, because that right there is wishful thinking, my brother Drew Bay. Pull your head out of your ass, dude. Okay, I don't give a shit how many muscles you have. I don't care who follows you. I don't care whose show you're on. Your attitude is stupid. It's never gonna friggin' happen. Boy, you really know how to make friends and influence people, don't you? Nothing like a big cock block. Shut the show down, Drew Bay. Boy, yeah. That was real smart of you, wasn't it? And my attitude about you changed when you opened your mouth about that. It was disgusting. It was a disgrace. And you're a poor excuse for a man for even saying that publicly. And I have to publicly distance myself, as do about 90% of the men who were part of that program that day. So You keep going ahead and saying that. And just keep pushing people away. Real smart move, dude. Real smart move.
I think first of all, this is the kinder, gentler George Bruno.
Yeah. So let me go into this. I was.
It's not going to happen. He's right. I mean, you're not going to repeal the 19th Amendment. Get a grip.
Of course, you're not.
As far as the Red Man Group, before we get more into that question, that topic, I was on that show on that panel when that happened, and I think Donovan was hosting. I remember it's on YouTube. You could see it. It's probably episode 36. Yep. Red Man Group episode 36. You pull it up. And that was super awkward. I mean, it was retarded. And I co-sign all your comments about. I lost text there. Yeah, I co-sign your comments about Drew Bay. I mean, he's an old speaker of the convention, but he really fucked up. And he was even, dude. My sister used to train with him. I sent my sister to personal training with him for a while. I used to send clients to him, and just spineless. We were talking about him behind the scenes. This spineless loser. I like his ideas and exercise, but outside of that, I think he's just a loser and with a weak.
I do too. And I liked him right up to that point. And he actually doubled down on that.
Sure.
And I'm thinking, dude, do you really want to die on that fucking hill?
Yep.
To me, that's where he just goes off. That's where something that just ain't right.
Yep. So I think, so for example, the 19th Amendment, my thoughts on it, I shot back at him too immediately because I knew that was dangerous. I'm like, dude, this is, first of all, I disagree. Second of all, putting those ideas and slapping the other speakers on here with that kind of branding, those ideas is dangerous. Everyone felt that. It's like, dude, when you endorse that shit and you just lob that at people in real life alongside you on camera, it's like, whoa, dude, not cool. So I had to so if you actually watch the episode, I cracked down on him with it, my disagreement. My thoughts are that
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was hardcore virtue signaling on his part. And he doubled down on it. And there was a line in the sand created, and a lot of guys, he became their hero for saying that. And he's never retracted it since. And I'm sure this is going to give him some mileage in future episodes. And all the little rolettes and little robots are going to be calling him right now. And they're all going to be sending this particular episode to him. I do not care. He's wrong 100%. Remember when George W. Bush said he wants to win the hearts and minds of the Iraqi people? Drew Bay, your philosophy is no way to win the hearts and minds of men and or women. And I know you don't care about women, so you're going to disregard what I have to say about that. But I'm telling you, you're not doing a solid to men who are struggling right now. You are hurting men with your attitude. And I think that you left your wheelhouse. When it comes to fitness, my God, you are fantastic, and I will give you props there. I love the fact that your training methods are solid, and I agree with them, and I respect you for that. But the minute you said that, I lost all respect, because that's impossible. That's like trying to suspend gravity. It's not going to happen.
Well, I got to tell you, I had known that was 2018, and I had known Drew Bay, first personally. I met him at his home back in 2009. He used to train me. He spoke at the convention 2009, 2010, stuff like that. And that was the first time I'd really seen him fuck up like that. And that was what about 9 years I'd known him at that point, 2018, and I was pretty stunned. I was like, whoa. And first of all, my thoughts on the 19th Amendment, stuff like that, repealing it, women's right to vote. First of all, I think it's politically impossible, even in the most dire. The country will collapse before that happens. It's not going to happen.
Correct. That is correct.
It's just, there's no fucking way you would ever get it done, no matter what the fuck happens. It's not going to happen.
No matter what happens.
Second of all, that's just a pragmatic argument. You can't do it. Second of all, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's just. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's American. It's not freedom-based. It's not in principle, right? In terms of how the country is founded, Declaration of Independence, and how the trajectory of freedom has gone in the country, to ban people from voting based on the way they were born. I don't think this is not a good idea. Now, that's not to say, though, that women voting doesn't have serious consequences. Stefan Molyneux's done videos on this. Black Pigeon Speaks on the consequences of women voting. For example, the rise of socialism in America, the rise of the national debt has skyrocketed since women got the right to vote. Surprise, women. You ever give a woman your credit card? Just gonna blow a bunch of money on it. What happens when women vote? They blow money. Now, what I will say, though, is that there's probably a way to reform voting, or make it better somehow. That's a big deal. Changing voting at all would be a huge deal. But for example, I've seen it suggested you could do only people who file taxes, even if you don't make any money, as long as any kind of baseline condition to be an eligible voter.
If you contribute,
even if you just file out the document, if you contribute, not even let's say you pay $1 in tax, who cares? Even if you just file the fucking form, you've now gone through a basic mechanism of being, voting is exerting political force. You're voting for politicians to then change laws, who then get passed down to courts and cops to actually carry the shit out, enforce the law, and then rule on it. So if you're going to do that, go ahead.
These are people that insult an entire gender. I mean, when I look at Janice Fiamengo, do you want her not voting? She is a voice of sanity, clarity, and reason. And there are guys, red pill idiots, who will say, "Oh no, she's still a woman. She has nothing to teach us." And I think that's where I separate. And I saw that's where the separation started. Am I still a red pill adherent? Yes, absolutely. I did not leave the red pill. I left the red pill idiots, and I want nothing to do with them.
Yeah. So I have I get a lot of DMs and stuff on equality with women, because they think the whole dom sub thing is treating women as second citizens and all this kind of crap. I mean, women equality under the eyes of the law, absolutely, all day long. That's what it's got to be. There's just no two ways around that. And I never want to get painted with that same brush that, he believes in this too because he's part of a red man group or whatever. It's like, no, it doesn't. I consider myself red pill as hell. Now, as far as in relationships, you know, I don't believe in that equality stuff in the house and 50-50 marriages and all that. I don't believe in that at all. But that's my right to express those opinions. But yeah, the law thing is ridiculous. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Men and
gonna
women
happen.
need to be treated equally before the law, regardless of what the consequences are. And I think that's what a lot of guys get really. I think Drew Bay is basically just too stupid and too dumb, like low IQ or something like that. Fitness advice aside, I think there's something like wrong in his head. You said he's retarded or something. He can't wrap his head around the fact that women voting has consequences, but that doesn't mean you treat them unequally before the law. Not a good idea.
Anthony, it's virtue
fucked up.
signaling. It's virtue signaling. He was drawing a line in the sand. He was making it very clear who he sides with.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. Society is not going to change, just like gravity is not going to change if you say that you don't believe in it.
Yeah. I'll say this too, though. You know, look at this question. So Eternal Guard Christ put a follow-up comment here I think is pretty good. My opinion is that only men can value individuality and freedom. Women, however, are born dependent, especially on the strength and wills of men. I don't agree with that 100%, but I think there's a reason he believes that, and he's onto something. You know, women, for example, look at the Libertarian Party. I'm not a Libertarian Party member, but I know the stats on it, and I know like 70% of the Libertarian Party is male. Now, however goofy the Libertarian Party is, they at least have an explicit valuation of individual freedom, individual rights, and all that. So why is it slanted so heavy to men? The Democratic Party and the Republican Party aren't like that. They're much closer to 50-50. But the minute you have a strong focus on freedom, all of a sudden it's like all men. What I will say is that in a healthier culture, I think you would see, you know, whatever negative consequences there are of women voting that lead to socialism and eventually economic collapse. I think you'd see a lot of that level out. For example, you see that right now with women who get married and have kids. All of a sudden, when they're a stay-at-home mom and dad, you know, father, the man is the breadwinner, and they have kids, all of a sudden they, from voting Democrat in their 20s, or maybe not Democrat, but just voting for progressive feminist SJW crap, that all of a sudden turns on its head because they don't want their husband to pay taxes because that means they pay taxes. So they want lower taxes because all of a sudden they know the fucking money goes out of the house to the IRS and they don't have the fucking money anymore. So, you know, when the consequences hit home, when they get married and they have a family, and I think in a healthier culture, you would see a lot more of that, obviously. And the dysfunctional culture, you see family collapsing, obviously. But I think you'd see a lot of the negative issues with women voting, whatever biological issues there are with that. If the culture was healthier, I think a lot of this would just work itself out. And that's where the guys, I think, that they harp on the 19th Amendment, you know, repeal it. It's like the culture's sick, and there's a way to heal it and a way to change it, just through freedom and free speech.
For instance, you know, let's start with small things. I have 3 children. I've never been able to claim any one of my 3 children as a dependent, but their mother does. I pay child support, but I can't claim my children.
Yeah. I was talking to another guy that just yesterday about that same thing. He can't claim him as dependent. Yeah. Even if he pays child support on him, 3 kids, same thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Tex, you got to get going soon, but let's wind down this show a little bit. Let's do a final round of thoughts on how the pandemic will affect the manosphere. The manosphere is a distinct community, offline and online, right? Offline, there's events and meetups. Obviously, has its own issues, you know, with pandemic crap, government stuff, whatever. But online, I think we've seen some changes too. I think that men who, like George was talking about this earlier, these fake alphas, these role-playing dudes, these guys who just scream at you for $500 an hour on Skype, or you know, whatever the per minute rate is. They're phone hookers, basically, I call them. How do you guys think the manosphere is going to be affected by this, or what do you see happening so far? You know, a lot of it's online anyway, so it didn't get. You know, the manosphere hasn't been banned as of yet. They were quarantined. The communities like Red Pill and MGTOW were quarantined before the quarantine, so to speak. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? How things are going to change?
I see it as the rise of private networks. We talk about the Fraternity of Excellence. We talk about Jack Murphy's got a group, Liminal Order. These are private, behind the walls groups where guys can do their thing and not have to, you know, be subject to the whims of YouTube CEO or Facebook CEO or whoever else's Twitter guys trying to, you know, police bad thoughts and that type of thing. So you're going to see more of these small societies start to form and start to do a little more groupthink in private where we can actually express ourselves and do that kind of stuff. So that's where I see the whole manosphere headed.
Yeah, I've seen Jack Murphy saying the same thing, and I agree on that. That you'll see a lot of the internet, I think, not just the manosphere, turn away from these large platforms like Reddit and Facebook and go to smaller communities like FOE, like Liminal Order and stuff like that. 21 University might have something like that at some point. It's just not a priority. It's never been a priority for me to do that because there's other places to do that better. And my focus with 21 has always been much more video based online than community oriented. Oddly enough, though, then in real life, it's a very much community thing. So, Steve, George, any comments on the how the manosphere will progress over this next 6 months and maybe 2 years from this pandemic? People quitting
I
the
think
field?
what's going to happen, I think that the private communities are going to do well. I was a guest on an FOE call a couple weeks ago. I was so impressed with that call. Tex, you were on that as well. I was impressed with the entire group of men, and I think that is the future. I think as far as the He-Man Woman Haters Club, I think there's always a fresh crop of men who are getting fucked over, and the first thing that they need is emergent care. And it seems like the red pill idiots seem to have cornered the market on that hurt, angry man.
Mm-hmm.
And then many of the guys outgrow it. And I know that because I get emails from guys that were like, yeah, I was watching those guys or watching that show and they just seem so bitter. They seem so immature. And I kind of like the more rational, mature view of manhood and fathering. And it's more balanced. It's peaceful. Doesn't seem as angry. But you're never not going to have a fresh crop of hurt, angry men that are just rolling out of the divorce machine. Yeah. And so I think what I would call the real rational manosphere, I honestly believe if we expand our borders to be, to understand the acute pain of a guy just coming out of it, like listening to this show today, there's a man listening to this show right now whose wife told him yesterday that she no longer wants to be married and that she has a boyfriend and that he has to move out. Do we have something for that man as well as the guy who's been divorced 10 years? And yeah. I think it's making us think about the role. Not every doctor is for every patient. We now have specialists. There was a day when one doctor did everything.
That's right.
Now we have specialists. And I think the truly rational manosphere will contain men who can deal with the acute pain, can deal with men who are dealing with financial issues, men who are dealing with reconnecting with their children after being disconnected through divorce.
Well, George, I don't know if you know this, but the tagline officially for the 21 Convention still, I don't use it as much publicly, but I've never actually formally changed it. The tagline for the 21 Convention is a panorama event for life on Earth as a man. Panorama meaning like a camera, a panoramic view, wide angle, comprehensive. Yes. And I think that really, when I started doing that kind of focus back in 2009, getting away from just pickup artistry and picking up chicks, that really triggered a lot of men. And that was back in 2009, 2010, and the manosphere then.
Yes.
And I think it really upsets a lot of guys because a lot of guys, I think they do get hung up on these like very negative rabbit holes they get stuck in. And I think what it is it's not just pain and getting stuck. It's like, in self-improvement, we call them dabblers. So there's these dabblers that they float around YouTube and self-help programs and stuff, and they'll even buy shit, but they never do anything with it. They just want to feel. It's like the Fight Club stuff, right? They want to feel like they achieved something.
Yeah.
They want to put feathers with their butt and call themselves a chicken. They don't want to actually go, do something and be something. So I think the negativity shithole, the toxic version of the manosphere you're talking about, they just feed on these guys' pain, and that's what these guys want. They're codependents. They don't want to heal. They should heal. They should look deeper into their own soul and their own manhood and their own masculinity and get better and You know, for example, find a more comprehensive way to look at life and to improve in life, not just with women, but with everything, right?
Right. Well,
but yeah, I think go ahead, Steve.
Oh no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I'll go after you. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Finish your.
Yeah, I was just saying it's a form, I think, of dabbling. It's like negative dabbling. You have positivity dabblers who just dabble from program to program. They buy shit on, you know, little ebooks, and they buy little courses. They don't do anything with it. They might read it. They don't ever apply it. If they even read it, they might even just buy it, not even do anything with, like collecting bullshit. Like they're like hoarders. They're just hoarding self-improvement. These guys are like hoarding negativity. They're just they're hoarders, like these little whores. They're the same whores that they try to bang that they can't bang because they're losers. Steve?
Yeah, it's like how women are. You know, women, if you look at women, they're drama filled, gossipy, and emotional. Okay, that's just how women are. And unfortunately, a lot of young men would rather take the shortcut of blaming somebody else for his problems. And what these guys are doing, it's kind of like the Super Friends. You know, you got the Super Friends over here, and then you got the Legion of Doom, you know, or I think the Legion of Doom, whatever. You know, you got the replicas of the good guys, but they're bad guys, you know. And what they do is knowingly is that they prey upon. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. They prey upon these young men that are saying, okay, I'm going through a divorce. I'm going through a bad marriage. I'm going through a breakup. I'm going through hard times. I need somebody to help me. And what they do is they come in like that, like I got you covered. You know, come with me. You know, like a cult following.
Steve, you know what it is? It's like from the Matrix. If you remember the saying, it's another system of control.
Yes,
they leave one, just go right into another.
Right. It's like a lot of these young men pull from the umbilical cord of mom because dad's not there, and they're looking to put that umbilical cord into something, and then they accidentally connect it to these guys that say, okay, all we're going to do is keep whining like women, keep complaining like women, keep being gossip-filled like women, and this is what manhood is about. And then when they hear gentlemen like Tex and White Chocolate and yourself and things like that, when they hear when they hear truth, it comes as like it's Klingon to them, because they're like, wait a second, that's your truth. That's not the real world. The women are the scourge, and you know, and all this other stuff. So the world is going. Look, is the truth? There are going to be more guys following those guys because everyone wants to take the easy route. Everybody wants to blame, and everyone wants to make excuses.
Well, you know what too, you know, DDJ's, you know, panels in the show, we've had a lot. DDJ calls it the red pill blind spot. And that's where guys, they basically hide in the cover of the manosphere. They say, oh, I'm manosphere. I'm this, I'm pro men, right? I hate feminism. Feminism's stupid, blah, 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 hypergamy, whatever the fuck, right? They're hiding. They're hiding among, just because a man, you know, criticizes feminism or something, right? Or says, you know, men are great, feminism sucks. That doesn't make you an ally of men. That could just be bullshit. There's plenty of scam artists who want to bullshit you. And they're not all just going to be low-hanging fruit like, you know, feminism sucks. Now buy my game course for $500. Or, you know, there's guys who've done for years in the pickup artist industry that did shit like that, right? They slung bullshit. It's not always, though, going to be obvious scams like that. There's, with salesmen, you have, you know, amateurs, you have experts, and you have masters. And the guys who are masters, a lot of times, are the best bullshitters. They're not even really good at selling. They're just good at scamming. And the manosphere has always had that plague since the 1990s, even in 2000s. And in some ways, it's gotten better. Some ways, it's gotten worse. It is what it is. I wanted to bring up something here, too. Some guy was criticizing FOE. I thought maybe some of you guys could hop in on this. But he said, okay, FOE is literally a paid monthly membership. Yeah, fuck that. The manosphere is free and not to be profited from. They have packages that go over $100 a month. Dude, look, people have been making money in the manosphere since the 1990s. It has had this kind of like Marxist hyper-free bent that is, you know, it's not bad. Go ahead, Tex.
Yeah, just let me jump in and fuck off. Okay, let me tell you something. We have a paywall on a lot of these groups is to keep dickheads out of it. Okay, so obviously this is not going to be for you. Take your broke ass self somewhere else and go get your free help somewhere else. I mean, come on, really? That's all you got, a paywall? Or there's guys that are constantly improving their lives, leveling up, fixing their relationships, fixing their job situations, fixing their physical health, this, that, and the other. And it has been proven out to be the men that are in there that are putting their credit card on the line every month are digging it, and they're still there. There's a whole lot of guys. There are hundreds of guys in this thing right now. There's a reason why. So take your free ass and go somewhere else and get you free advice somewhere else because it's worth exactly what you pay for it. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Fuck
yeah.
I want to say this. I'm not even a part of FOE, but like you said, fuck him. I want to ride your bandwagon on that alley-oop. See, people like that, they always want the quick fixes and free shit. And they don't want to invest their time in their, you got to pay for, hey, if it has value, you're going to have to pay for it. That's the bottom line. And if it's for free, it doesn't have as much weight and value as it would, because if FOE gave you all the information that people are paying for, you wouldn't use the shit anyway. So fuck you. I'm sorry. I'm back to you, Ted, you guys.
Yeah. I could say too that I've been in the manosphere for a long time. I've been in the manosphere since 2005. So 15 years now, since I was in high school. And there has always been a free element to it, and I don't have a problem with that. There's always been a paid element too, and I don't have a problem with that either. The issue is guys like this that do have a problem with that, and that's bullshit. I don't mind at all. Tech says, fuck this guy. It's like this pseudo like low key Marxist bent they have that no one can make any money, and anyone trying to profit off of their time. I mean, what is the saying, right? That I agree with it. It's very common. Your time is your most valuable resource. So what are these guys supposed to spend their time and their expertise and their life experience? They went through pain. Dude, George Bruno's been through a bad divorce and had a lot of pain from it and a lot of wisdom gained from it. Is he supposed to give you that shit for free? He can when he wants to, and in ways that he thinks are appropriate, using YouTube and other platforms that make it inexpensive or free to do that. But he's not, you don't have any demand on him to give you his time and the shit in his head for free. I don't, there's no mandate for me to publish speeches from 21Con for free. I do that, and I arrange that with the speakers beforehand because I believe in it. Not because, and I want to help men too, and I want to change the world, and seriously change the course of a generation. And I think videos being free are a way to do that, but you're not fucking entitled to them. And that's why we put them on 21 University first, to monetize them. If you want to see them early, a month ahead of time, if you want to see them with no ads and other bullshit on YouTube and a censored platform, then you can wait and be patient, and it'll be free. Because I think that's best, not because you demand it or you're entitled to that shit. You're not entitled to it. Yeah. You're not entitled to my time, Texas time, Georgia's time. The Red Man Group's free because I think it should be, not because you're entitled to it. And it's a lot of free content that helps millions of men. This show and the 21 Convention, all these guys, the content they do. So yeah, this Marxist thing, I'm not going to beat up on you as bad as maybe Tex and Steve did, but this everything communist bullshit, everything should be free. Stupid. There should be free elements to the manosphere that are legit. And then there's, premium stuff. And then there can be free stuff that pushes to premium content, whatever. Yeah. Profit's a good thing, man. It means someone paid you. When people buy tickets to the convention, they're spending over $1,000. Over 1,000 men have bought tickets to the convention over since 2007 because they believe in it, because they think it's worth it. They say that the ticket is worth more than the money. So they buy the fucking ticket. Some of them come back 3, 4, 5 times. They love it. So yeah, this free shit, man.
Yeah, if somebody needs to monetize to be able to make a living, to be able to do this, that means they're going to put out more content. You're going to get better content versus a guy that has, okay, this is just something. Hey, I mean, look at me, man, dude. I have a blog, right? I write it because it's fun. I'm enjoying myself. Am I making any money on it? No, I got a real job that keeps me pretty happy and satisfied. But my content is low. I mean, I don't produce something every day. When something hits me, I write something and off we go. These guys are putting out content. They're doing stuff 24/7, it seems like. And because because now they have the ability to. So I used to be, don't monetize. But yeah, so the guy says, yeah, fuck no, fuck that, right? Or yeah, no, fuck that. Well, fuck off, man. Go find something else to do. That's fine. You can have your opinion. I don't respect that opinion, but you can have your opinion, right? Just go somewhere else. That's all. I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, let me actually show this guy to you real quick. So I'm gonna pull up a video here that I think is pretty useful for him. We'll end here on this. Where the fuck? Here it is. Nope. This is the one. I think I just found it. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna pull this up on the screen here. So here's Sean Smith, speaker of the convention 2018 and 2019 later. Here's Richard Cooper introducing him, whatever. This speech we put out pretty recently, September 2019, and it went and had 361,000 fucking views already. This has helped over 1/3 men, learn about the red pill, learn about game, learn about understanding women, keeping the wrong woman out of your life or bringing the right one into it, depending on how you want to view it. This has helped a lot of men. And do you know how this is filmed or how this is produced and published? With money. Because men bought tickets to the convention and they bought 21 University and they sent donations and whatever else, advertising and stuff, right? And this is the reason we could do this. The reason we got this badass video and the 3 camera angles and the lighting and the fucking PowerPoint and all this shit, right? It's because men paid for it. Men supported it. Men, and this is helping. Most of these men didn't pay. How many men paid for this? 200 men for the convention here, and then a couple hundred more in 21 years or something. That has then, you guys paying money has enabled this Sean Smith to reach. This is his highest viewed video in history. He does shows on his channel and Cooper and stuff, whatever. They have 30,000 views, 50,000 views. This will be his highest viewed video probably in his whole life if this keeps going. This will hit 1 million people someday because money. This shit ain't free, man. YouTube's free. That fucking flag ain't free. That backdrop ain't free. That TV ain't free. That microphone in his chest ain't free. This shit costs money, man.
So money's a good thing. How much I believe in this. I'd already bought a ticket before you asked me to speak. That's how much I believe in this shit, right? I put my own money on the line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I get a little fired up. I got to run, guys. I apologize, but family's waiting.
All right, Tex, thanks for coming on. I want to wrap up. You guys visit Tex at texasdom.com. And we're actually going to wrap up today's show anyway. It's been about an hour and 45. Appreciate everyone's time. This has been episode 103 of the Redman Group. You can find me on Twitter at Beach Muscles. You can find Tex at texasdom.com. George Bruno, I think at georgebruno.com. And just on YouTube, type his name, pull his channel up. And of course, you got Steve at themanmindset.com. See you guys next Saturday for the next episode of the Redman Group at 11 a.m. Peace.